Good to see you, man. All
Yeah,
okay?
Good to be here on another show of yours.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time. Fareen, welcome. Vivek, we've got lots of people interested in white-winged duck. I'd say white-winged wood duck or white-winged duck. What should I say?
Current terminology is white-winged duck, but you can say white-winged wood duck also. But if you have to be taxonomically correct, you have to say white-winged duck now.
Okay. So I'll say white-winged duck. It saves me one word. Okay. So it's well, there are a few wooden ducks by my tub side. So
I have kept a wooden duck for you also.
Pick your screen. Okay, one second. Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have many people here. Welcome, Brian, Salil, Mahesh, Mike, Nishan. Welcome, Ishita, Sameer. Oh, we have lots of friends here. This is fantastic. And Souvik is here. And Brian is here. Brian lives in Booster. And yeah, he's the right man for us. And he runs one of the best birding stores of the UK. I've been to this place. It's a very, very nice shop, and it's all conservation oriented. So that's really nice.
Try to drop in next time I'm there. Only if Corona allows us to travel again.
And then absolutely. And we've got Rakesh as well. Rakesh is an old friend of yours. You haven't met him for a long time. Great. So welcome, friends. Let me. It's 1932, which is 7:32. So I'll start now. Let me tell you why I'm doing this webinar. The goal of this webinar is to help wildlife conservation as much as I can. It's my life goal and also my business goal to support Wildlife Trust of India with their projects. In this mission, I've been lucky to have the support of stalwart like Vivek Menon, who's at the forefront of conservation of various species. Before I go any further, I want to know if my voice is okay and if everybody can hear me well, or is it echoing?
There is a slight echo, but I can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to be speaking for long, so it's you who has to tell people all about white-winged duck. Just 2 more minutes. Let me finish introducing you first, Vivek. So Vivek Menon is an Indian wildlife conservationist, environmental commentator, author, and photographer with a passion for wildlife. The founder of 5 environmental and nature conservation organizations, Menon is the founder and executive director of Wildlife Trust of India. He's the author and editor of 10 wildlife books and hundreds of articles on natural history. I'm going to paste a link here in the chat for people who want to know more about Vivek. And it'll take you to a landing page where Vivek's profile is there. And you'd be able to know more about him as we go along. So shall I introduce myself, Vivek, or everybody would know me already? I think I should.
No, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Mohit Agarwal. I'm an experiential ecotourism specialist with deep love for nature. I help people travel to some wonderful places in Asia. I'm the founder of Asian Adventures, which is a 26-year-old travel company. It is the largest and #1 bird watching tour company in India. The company is on a large mission to help Asian elephants with the corridors, with Wildlife Trust of India, free the Himalayas of plastic waste, and help small wildlife NGOs, and also save the ancient Himalayan shrines. So this is my introduction. I have a few questions for Vivek. Vivek, everybody thinks you're an elephant man. Why this duck all of a sudden? Why?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to begin, of course. People think I'm an elephant man because I've done a lot of work on elephants in the recent past. I mean, I'm saying recent past, I mean 20 years. People think I'm an elephant man because I'm the chair of the Asian Elephant Specialist Group, all of which is true. But my first passion was birds, and I got into natural history, not the professional part of it, but the natural history thing through birds. And from then to now, I've had an abiding love for birds and bird watching. So apart from my elephant and mammal this thing, I'm also inveterate bird watcher who uploads on eBird even if I go out for a walk. Apart from that, my first scientific training professionally for my post-graduation was on birds. And I started doing something on the Brahmini kite in the late 80s, and then also did something on the birds of the Delhi Ridge. So really, birds have been an absolute, part of my own career. But not only that, we are talking about projects of the Wildlife Trust of India, and Wildlife Trust of India runs projects on birds and fish and mammals and now frogs. And everything in between, and I'm equally committed to all of them. So it's not as if we have our personal favorites. Nature is a chain of wonderful beings, and to be in conservation, you have to be in love with all of them, I think. So the white-winged duck is just as much important to us as an elephant. I seem to have lost your audio, Mohit. I've lost you. I've lost your audio. I don't know whether it's something at your end or my end. No. So is it, I cannot hear you at all. I seem to have suddenly gone off. Yeah, I think it's not, there's some people saying that we can't hear you, to you, Mohit. Can people hear me, or is it just me? Okay, there is no audio, says Salil.
Vivek, I'm back.
Yes, you seem to be back.
Yeah, so now you can hear me, right?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a system called panic button here. If you go off, if somebody goes off, I can reboot the system. So friends, I'm back, and my question to Vivek was, tell us more about white-winged duck. Why is it so special?
Yeah. Do you think we should wait till others get back on, Mohit? Is everybody back who were there, you think?
Yeah, they're still there.
Okay, that's all right. Okay. So if everybody can hear me again, let's start with some of these details of the white-winged duck now. So why is the white-winged duck special? That's what Mohit asked me. And again, let me actually move away from the white-winged duck for a minute and go back to the general bird scene of India. When I started, there were 4 species when I started my career which were supposed to be extinct. in India. Okay, these were the Jordan's courser and the forest spotted owlet and the pink-headed duck and the mountain quail. And in the intervening years, the good news is that the forest owlet has been rediscovered and is doing very well, thank you. So it's not only not an extinct bird, but seems to be there in reasonable number in some pockets of India, central India. The Jordan's courser was rediscovered even while I was doing my work on birds by my colleague Bharat Bhushan in those days. And unfortunately, we seem to have lost it again, or at least we don't seem to be seeing it again as of now. The search is still ongoing before we say that it's again gone extinct. But it's something that's just come in and out. And the mountain quail and the pink-headed duck have not been seen. Of which, of those two, the bird that we know is completely gone, almost definitely, is the pink-headed duck. Because the mountain quail, you still have hopes for. It's a small bird, a secretive bird, it's an undergrowth bird, and it's montane. It's in the mountain region. So perhaps under some mountain shrub, they're scuttling around and we've not heard them or not seen them. But a pink-headed duck, which is a large duck in open waterways of eastern India, if it was there, we should have seen it. So we are reasonably certain it's gone. Now, we are here not talking about the pink-headed duck. We are talking about another large duck, the white-winged duck, right? Which, if we don't do something today, may go and will face the fate of the pink-headed duck. So one of the first reasons, before any other reason, why this is important to save is that it is a large duck, just a little smaller than a muscovy. It's like a big domestic duck, right? A little different to look at, and I'll come to that in a minute. But it's a large duck. And if we lose such a large bird, which has been fairly widespread in the northeast of India, we would have done ourselves a disservice. It's not something that we didn't know was going extinct. It's not like a warbler which went extinct and nobody even knew that it was going extinct. This is vanishing in front of our eyes. Very much like the grey bustard. I'll be remiss if I don't mention that, although nothing to do with this. But the point is, two large birds in India are in front of our eyes going extinct. So we have to do something about it. Just for that reason, it's special. But it's also special because it's a state bird of Assam. It is called the Devhang, or the spirit, or the holy, or spirit, I think is the right word, duck of the Northeast. Okay, it is culturally very important to many tribes and to the Assamese people, and has been part of many stories and legends and folklore of the Northeast. So again, this is not a species which does not feature in human consciousness. It features in our consciousness. It features in the landscape, and it'll be a great shame if it is lost. So for both these reasons, to Assam, I would say the white-winged wood duck is the bird or avian equivalent of the rhinoceros. The rhino, the gaur, is the pride of Assam. The state bird, the white-winged duck, should be just as much important for Assam and for all other parts of Northeast India, and therefore for India as well, as a whole. Yeah. Also, globally, it's not only found in India, it's found in Southeast Asia as well. Globally, also, it is an endangered species, declining rapidly. So if you look at world numbers, if you look at the 2 or 3 sources like IUCN Red List, or if you look at the eBird website, etc., you'll find varying figures between 900 and 1,500 birds globally. Okay, different people say different things. The most positive thing you can hear is 1,500 birds globally, of which the most positive thing you can hear about India is about 500 birds. Most positive, 450 to 500 birds. Okay, But we know, those of us who have worked in the Northeast long enough, that that is possibly an exaggeration. We probably do not have 500 birds. Or if there are 500 birds in India, we don't really know where they are. Because the 2 or 3 sites where we know where they are, if you count them together, you get 150 birds, maximum. 100 birds actually, but maybe 150. But it does not go anywhere near 450 or 500 birds. So we know that there's a problem. We know that it's a declining population. And we know that with the state of forests, which I'll come to in a minute also, that this bird will go extinct very soon if we don't do something about it. Okay. Mohit, if I may, I'll just describe the bird for you. I mean, it's a large, as I said, it's like a domestic duck, right? I mean, something like that, if you may. Not painted. I mean, somebody has to paint it the right color. But anyway, it's a large duck, okay, and it's called white-winged because it has the underwings on both sides are white, and even above there are several coverts which are white. So in flight and even when sitting, you will see white in the wings. Okay, but it's also got a white head. It's also got a white head, sometimes speckled, sometimes got a lot of black on it in terms of speckles. But it is predominantly a white-headed and a white-winged bird, with predominantly a dark rest of body. But the dark rest of body is not, I mean, it's not all black actually. The neck is rather black and the upper parts is rather black, glossed with green iridescence. And then there's a chestnut remaining part of the body. But at first glance, it looks like a dark duck with white in its wings and white on the head. Yeah, as I said, reasonably fairly white. The other very interesting thing about this duck is its call. Yeah, and it has got a very eerie call. The male and the female have different calls. So the male has a honk like a goose. I mean, you could be forgiven if you think it's a bar-headed goose or a grey-lag goose when it calls. But the female has a very elongated he call, right? I don't think I sound like a duck, but it's not really a loud honk, but it's a call which carries a long way, possibly used during its breeding, call to call the mate, and it carries a very, very long way, which is why it's called a spirit duck. The calls echo through the forest that it is in when it is there. So this is the bird we are talking about. Perhaps the other thing for you to know also is that it is a bird of undisturbed forest largely in India. Although outside India it has been found even in very open places. Perhaps it's a seasonal thing. Perhaps it comes out in the wet season, and in the dry season they may go back into the primary forest. And in the forest they like not fast-flowing streams or rivers, but they like pools and stagnant water. They need water to be still. So they need still water, large trees, and in that is where this duck seems to survive, where we know of it in India. So, Mohit, does that answer in a long way your question as to why?
Yes, Vivek. My experience with white-winged duck was 12 years ago when I was in Nameri, and I had to walk through the forest to get to a very silent pool where I saw it. And it's a fairly shy bird, didn't allow very close access, but it was okay to see it. And that was the only time I saw it.
Nameri is one of the few places where people do see it in India even now.
Yeah. So what sort of habitat, where is it found only in Assam or other parts of Northeast as well?
Yeah, at some stage where you can put up one or two of those slides which can show you some of the maps. But yeah, it's in Assam we know it exists even today in 2 or 3 places. We are reasonably certain it exists in a couple of places in Arunachal as well. And there is absolutely no reason why it should not exist in all the adjoining lowland forests of Arunachal. So wherever in Assam it has been found, in the lowland forests of Arunachal also it should very much be there. In the past, it has been reported from Nagaland, it has been reported from Meghalaya, it has been reported from Manipur, but one sighting, 2 sightings. So you can't really say it exists, and none of these sightings are recent. So all the recent sightings are in Assam and some in Arunachal. So we know that just that, the foothills of Arunachal, floodplains, and then up to the plains of the Brahmaputra. So that's where it exists really in a broad sweep of Assam and Arunachal border, going right up to Myanmar. And then, of course, as I told you, it exists in Southeast Asia and Myanmar. It used to exist in Bangladesh. We don't really know what the status is there now. In Cambodia, which is another place where you can see it today, and Thailand, where you can see it today. So in some parts of Southeast Asia, of Indochina and Southeast Asia, still exists in little pockets.
Excellent. So that's good information. That's good food for thought. People who travel to Thailand and to other countries should be prioritizing their birding towards white-winged duck, putting it on their target list. I want to know what is WTI doing about it? Do you want me to put a slideshow on and then you could talk?
Well, you can. What we do is, if you can put it on, because I don't think I can access it here. If you can put it on, it's not really a full slideshow. I just like to show you a few slides just to introduce the thing, and then we'll go on to to answering your question as to what we want to do about it, which may not be in this show really. So this is the duck. As I told you, it looks like a dark duck with a white head with speckles on it, right? By the way, it has got a deep red eye and it's got a yellow-orange bill, so it's quite a pretty bird if you see it up close. I told you, if you look at now here in this thing, is BirdLife International has been quoted 1,500 birds worldwide. In India, 250 to 300 birds is what is written. As per these references, different references give a few hundred here or there. Endangered since 94, as I said, and it's on Schedule 1 of our Act in India, and Appendix 1 of CITES internationally. Of course, that does not really matter because it's not traded internationally. And as I told you, it's a state bird of Assam as well. So I've told you some of these things. I'm not going to spend more time on it, except you can have a look at the bird. For example, here's a click of this bird from Upper Dihing in Assam from last year, from our surveys that we did there. So you can have a look at that. Another shot from Nameri, which you can look. As I told you, forest dwelling. Crepuscular duck, a very important thing, known to be very active at dusk and dawn. Crepuscular as in dusk and dawn, right? So if you want to see it at dawn, dusk could be, when the light is fading, it's difficult to see it anyway. So what is best is to go at dawn and go right in the morning, very early. Just as light comes, you may see this bird, even in the places where you know it is there. For example, in Nameri, where people go in India to see this bird, it'll go really early. And as Mohit said, it's a shy bird. So if people start approaching it, once the first few approach it, it may fly away. So it won't just sit and give you very good sightings normally. I told you about the habitat, and it needs large trees, dead tree trunks, and branches of large trees. Yeah, it's a tree hole nester, so it needs those large trees with the big tree holes to nest. Okay, it also just likes those large trees to perch on. So you won't even see them perching on small trees, and you'll see them in forests with large trees. Okay, we know the brood and clutch size and also breeding season also quite a bit because this bird is in captivity. It's in captivity in the UK and it's in captivity in the US in quite a few number. In fact, from India in the late 60s, eggs were taken to Slimbridge, Peter Scott's center then in the UK to breed. And they did pretty well in terms of breeding them, as they have done well in Jersey, for example. And we are collaborating with both places in our project as well. And they've done well in captivity. It's a duck, and it lays eggs, and they do well. So we know enough about the breeding. But why they don't do well in the forest is another thing, which I'm coming to. I told you where they are distributed. You will see those dots, but in Peninsular Malaysia and Java and perhaps Bangladesh, they're probably not there, is what current records show, although past records show that they are present in these countries as well. But generally, it goes all the way up to Vietnam from India. Okay. It looks nice to see so many dots all over, but remember, these are all one sightings or two sightings. There are very few birds that are sighted, and or where there are a large number of sightings, they're the same wetlands. So there are very, very few protected areas where they are found with any great certainty. For example, if you look at this map, which tells you what the sightings were, you will see that there are early sightings which are spread all across from the pre-1950s and the 1950 to 1990. And then 1990 to now, we have been intensively surveying in the last few years ourselves, and people have been, birders' activity have gone up, etc. And there are a few more reports. Yeah. And some of these need confirmation. For example, the Manas dot may well be mine, which I saw a duck fly off, but we need confirmation. It has not been seen since then there. So they may be there in very low numbers, but we need confirmation about some of these. So if you look again at the IUCN Red List, which has made it endangered, it says 100,000 plus square kilometers, 125 or something like that, 1,000 square kilometers. But if you look at our work, which is starting to define it a little more, currently, and mind you, we're nowhere near the end of the survey at all. We've just done the Assam part, which we know a little bit for the last 2 years. And I'll go on to what we are going to do now. But if you look at that, we estimate that there's nothing more than 60,000 square kilometers. So less than half of what is estimated by the IUCN list is what is possibly there in Northeast India as an extent of habitat. Okay, it may be even less when we come down to brass tacks. And the habitat doesn't mean you have the birds either. So you may have less habitat, but more habitat, but less birds. And we also know that Nameri on Assam and Pake in Arunachal Tiger Reserve and National Park is probably the best habitat at the moment for these birds. And then again in Dihing Patkai, Jaipur forest of Assam, in Upper Assam, again this seems to be a good population. Dibu Saiko supposedly had, but has not been seen in recent times in any large number at all. And Namdapha supposedly had, but has not been seen in recent times in any large number. But even if we take those, these may well be the major areas in Assam and Arunachal. One area I might add to this is deering in Arunachal, and that area might, which is on the other side of the Patkai and Dibu Saiko. And these might still have it. Here there are the other areas. There are a couple of things, Nambor and Poba and Olangpar in Assam, for example. Perhaps Manas, as I just now said. And in Arunachal, Dibang, Mehao, and Deering. These are the potential possible protected areas with it. Mind you, these are the protected areas. So if you want to conserve this bird, these may be the areas we need to look at. But the birds may be found outside. It may be found, as in Southeast Asia, in paddy fields, right? It may be found in an open tank in certain areas, because we have seen in Southeast Asia and Bangladesh, where actually a fairly detailed study of this duck was carried out in the past, that in wet season they seem to come out into absolutely open water and paddy, and it's only in dry season that it is retreated into forest. So if that is the case here too, then you could see them across this stretch, even in open water, if people are looking. And a few more little patches. These are small patches. I'm not going to go into great detail over these. Okay. The threats, Mohit, if it was one of your next questions, let me answer it anyway. The threats are that the forest is being lost. These large trees are being lost. There's some statistics here on Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, but anybody who knows Northeast India knows that the level of deforestation is very high. It's like you talk about the Amazon globally. In India, you talk about Northeast India in terms of forest cover that is there, also highest there, and forest cover that's being lost, also highest there. So this is a place where large forests are there still, but are in danger. Yeah, and most of the reserve forests, which are not sanctuaries or national parks. Sanctuaries and national park are protected areas of India, which are fully protected. The reserve forests are forests which have been notified, but are not sanctuaries or national park, not part of the formal protected area system of India. These are degraded, vulnerable. There's logging, there's encroachment, and the swamps and marshes, there's those still pieces of water. That is something people don't like. You know, it's a funny thing. It's like rainforest people want to protect. But people don't want to protect swamps because it's muddy. It's got, stagnant water. People don't like scrub, for example, the forest of Delhi, the city I live in. Excellent old mountains and old scrub forests. But scrub is something people don't like. It's like an unshaven visage. People like to take it off because there are no big trees. Similarly, so marshes, grasslands, these are all systems that people don't like. Okay. And in these areas, of course, are a large number of dams which have been coming up. So all these reasons are reasons why they are threatened. And there are some more things that you, sorry, this is the same. I'm sorry, I don't, okay. So these are the visuals coming up for the dams and the forest loss. I just lost the thing. Plus, we know that some areas in Upper Assam are also some of the most critical oil-producing areas of India, and that these are, both oil and open-cast coal mining is threatening their habitat. Apart from things like pesticide use, although we don't really know whether pesticide is affecting white-winged duck, there's no real correlation, but we know it would be affecting because it leaches into the water. So these are really the threats. Okay. There have been opportunistic hunting and poaching, and I remember going through a part of Arunachal and asking my bird guide there, whether he had seen any, and he said my elder brother actually had seen, and in fact they had caught it, and in fact he had eaten it. So I was horrified, and I said, "Good God!" I mean, it's a part of India where Wildlife Protection Act is there and is enforced, but may or may not be respected by the tribal communities, and it's very difficult to enforce in those remote areas. But it shows that the thing is there. Yeah, it shows that they're seeing the duck, they know the duck, they are actually even catching it and perhaps eating it, some of them, right? So that's another major or a threat. But I think really what we need to know at the moment is, where are they actually? What is the number? Are we talking 1,500 as people are saying, or are we talking 400, or are we talking 150? We really need to get a fix on broad these things. I mean, I'm not saying every single duck needs to be counted, but we need to know, are we talking 150, 200, are we talking 400, 500, are we talking 1,000, 1,500, right? We also need to tell the people of Assam specially, but also Arunachal, but Assam especially because it is the state bird of Assam. We need to tell the people of Assam that this can go. This can go. And you may be the first state in India to lose a state bird if you don't do something about it, right? We, in Wildlife Trust of India, we did a major project with Chhattisgarh on the wild buffalo, which is a state animal of Chhattisgarh. At the time we started, there was just one female left. And we had to tell the people of Chhattisgarh and the polity of Chhattisgarh that you may lose the state animal if you don't do something. Luckily, slowly, very slowly, over 10 years, it's slightly coming back. Nowhere near safe, but it's slightly better than when we started. We need to do something like that here. So the time has come where we have to do something. The good news is it's not as bad as a bustard. So bustard, we had left it almost too late, although I am an optimist and I hope the current conservation efforts will pull it out even at this late stage. But the white-winged duck is still there in these few protected areas, at least. We know that there's these 25, 30 of them in each of these areas, which is a decent enough founder pool to work with. And we really must ensure that we do something about it. Okay, so this is what we know about it. We'll come back to the chat with Mohit perhaps when I'll tell you what we are planning to do about it in the future. I have not gone into that in the presentation because it's still a work in progress. It's still something that we are doing. So I'll leave you to ask me more questions, Mohit, while I have a set of one.
So that's really alarming, Vivek. I think we really need to do something about it really fast. You have a game plan, right? You have something which is already in your project. I mean, that's the focus of your project. So would you like to tell people how they can help? What is it that you're looking for? What sort of expectations you have, and what sort of results? What would be the delivery? At the end of your research or the project, and how long will it be for?
Yeah. Yeah, the project, Mohit, we must not even, at least I tend not to use some words. I dislike some words because they've been overused and we don't actually do much about it. One of the words I dislike is more research. Yeah, it's not that we don't do research. We do research. Research is good. Science is good. But Wildlife Trust of India is positioned as a conservation action organization, which means we try to deliver something, using simple log frames, which are more in the form of private sector delivery. That means there is an impact, and you have to achieve it in X number of years. Now, for a species like this, or any species that is sinking, the only impact that you can have is that the species is not sinking, right? So if this is an endangered list, the impact can only be if it's removed from the endangered list by IUCN and moved into, say, the next status, which is vulnerable or threatened or whatever. And it'll still be a threatened species, but it'll be vulnerable if we can manage to downlist it. How does that happen? It can happen if you have more, then you find that baseline of what you have actually. And or it can happen if there are more sites in far-flung areas which have the duck, even if the number is the same. So in other words, if you thought you had 150 duck in one place and you actually you manage by some means to make 150 into 500, I'm just giving a number for people to understand in easy lay language, you might influence an IUCN listing. Or if you have 150 duck in only one spot, but if you manage to put into two spots separated by 500 kilometers, you are extending the range and thereby increasing the chance of something not happening to one of those populations. So increasing the chance of it not going extinct. Yeah. So more populations are better and more number is better. So these are the two things that we need to build up. So to begin with, we need to do a complete survey to understand how many we have. As I said, there's still doubt on that. When we have done 2 years, we've done 2 years of intense work in Assam. And that's why I'm saying we doubt those 450 or 500 numbers, right? I don't want to jump to a number. I can jump to a number and say that we know that there are 50 duck or 60 duck, definitely, right? Definitely, hopefully there are more, yeah? But how much is it between 60 or 70 ducks to 450 to 500 is what we need to find out, okay? We also need to find out where are those edges where they are. Are they still in Meghalaya, where it was once reported? Are they still in Nagaland or Manipur, where there was once reported? Are they still in the ends of Arunachal, or are they just in Pake? Yeah, it's very important. So the next phase of what we're doing the next year, 9 months actually, is intensively survey Arunachal, because we've done Assam and now we're just doing Arunachal where we know it exists. And we know, as I said, some spots where it exists, but that really needs to be surveyed tip to tip. That's what I'm into at the moment, okay? So once you do finish the survey, you will know approximately how many duck there are, and you will know how many sites there are. Now, once you do this, your options, maybe the sites that you've found, and through your survey itself, you have found that there are sites with duck. That itself can reduce endangerment. Just more knowledge about it. But let us assume what we think we know now is right, which is that the duck is declining, and you will not find it. And it's only in some areas. Then we definitely need to move into the next stage, which they moved into in the Bustard. A little too late, according to me. But let's move into that now for the white-winged wood duck, which is white-winged duck. Even I'm making the mistake, Mohit, of being older and referring to the older name. But let's move into breeding, okay? And let's find the places and put them in. Not randomly. You know those areas which are protected. We'll have to follow all the IUCN guidelines for reintroduction and restocking, which is nowadays called conservation translocation. I'm also a member of that group, and we need to look at that. We need to look at the waterfowl wetland rules. But as I said, people know how to breed it. It's a duck, they say, right? So they can breed it. So let's not make the mistake of letting this go extinct, watching it and protecting the wild while letting it slip. So that's a broad philosophy. Now, in that, In Assam, especially, we need to get the people onto our side because it is the state bird, and we need to get the chief minister involved. We need to get the minister involved. We need to get the people involved. We need to get the cultural icons, intellectual icons of Assam, the music, people who write music and sing music, because it's a musical bird. It's a lovely call. Yeah, we need to get the cultural icons to come up and say that this is our state bird and we won't let it go extinct. Okay, I'm sure there are such similar things in tribal communities in Arunachal who hold it dear. We need to get them. It may not be a state bird of Arunachal, but we need to get the tribal communities who hold it dear to stand up and say we will not let it go extinct. So we need a public campaign. Another word I dislike is awareness. Just like I said, I dislike the word research for the sake of research. Okay, I dislike the word awareness because this has been badly misused. We do awareness, we do awareness, we do awareness. I finished 30 years in conservation, 35 or so, I think. And I think it's time we participate and get involved. It's enough of awareness. Discovery and National Geographic and all those things have really raised awareness. All our children are aware. Even the children in villages are aware. In fact, they're more aware than in urban. What we need to do is to do something about it. So for that, an involvement scheme. Okay, so the three levels. Mohit, I don't know whether you have a visual on this or I should just tell people how they can get involved.
So I've spoken to you, Vivek, over a period of time, and yeah. I think we need to. So right now, everything was restricted to conservation community or to bird watchers. So, like you said, that we need to get the music, the emotion, you're not talking about any awareness. We're talking about the total emotion of this entire thing up. We need to sensitize people. Like you said, the locals would know a lot more, but there are people from other areas, other walks of life, who are just nature lovers. And they can help a lot. Journalists will write, musicians will sing, bloggers will write, then the entire thing, people became emotional about playing patkai. On similar lines, they need to start pushing this through social media. They need to visit those places and help WTI with their projects. They need to go, if they're photographers, if they're bird watchers. Is that a dog barking? Yeah. Okay, sorry.
It is my dog. He's got excited. Okay. She has got excited that we are out searching for a duck. I mean, if you talk about a duck and there's a dog in the house, I mean, obviously she's excited.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I thought my mic was barking, so that's fine.
No, this is my dog. Okay, which is being led away at the moment.
I think this world can do a lot more, and people who can't do much, but they've got. But they've got the capacity or the capability to help in terms of money or in terms of any intellectual dimension. They should come up and say, "I'm willing to help." It becomes, it's your manifestation. That's how your thought process works. This is how things happen. If you put your spirituality into saving this, that something will happen. There's a collective karmic. Evolution that will take place, according to me. So I think it's very important. Hey, by the way, do you have money for it? Let's come to.
No, I don't have. So there are three ways in which a person can help, and so Mohit has started with money. So that's always a good way. So those of you who can't actively help out in the field, yeah, do help us with money. There's a link. That the Wildlife Trust of India has. To really cover every area, we need lots of people scanning the place. That in itself per day doesn't really cost all that much money. But when it comes to 9 months of this team of 5 or 6 or 10, or scanning the place, there's some amount of money that we require. So there is an ask that we would like people to contribute to, and I think it's something that citizenry can contribute to. It's not like a large conservation project that needs crores and crores of rupees to get done, or I said crores and crores is an Indian term, but if you're not an Indian listening, and we don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds to get this done. Right, so for the first phase, what you need is rather targeted surveys, as I said. So this is the survey phase that we want to absolutely be sure how many there are. Okay, I would encourage all of you to go on to this link that Mohit will provide, hopefully, which will link us to a WTI page with a very definite ask, and we want to get that through private funding, and then go on to the species recovery part of it, which might be a little more expensive to do, but even that we'll get to that in a moment. The next 9 months, we're really going to do Arunachal. We're really going to do Arunachal. So that's what we want everybody to get involved in. Now, other than this, the two other sets of people who can really help, obviously, are the best birders of India or of the world who can come to India in Corona times. I'm a little hesitant to say all of you come here, but whoever can when the travel restrictions are lifted, because it's for the next 9 months. Otherwise, Indian birders, right? The birding community is really grown. I was one of the founders of Delhi Bird Club in the 90s, Mohit, if you remember. And my mother used to make and a flask of coffee, and 5 people used to turn up. Now I believe there are hundreds of people who go in for birding walks and stuff like that in Delhi alone. So the birding community has really grown. I know there are centers like Bangalore and Pune and all that, which lots of very good professional birders. Well, come out and look for the duck with us, right? I don't want hundreds of you. I just want 2 or 3 of you per month who can give 2 weeks of your time. Not even a month. 2 weeks at a time, couple of you who are really good. We need good birding, what shall I say, the people who know the jizz of this duck, right? People who have good intuitions and hunches, because we know good birders have those, right? Which is not necessarily a good scientific skill. It's a good birding skill to track a bird down, right? And people who have got good eyes and good ears. People who can walk in the Northeast during monsoon. When we held our first planning meeting, the chair of the duck specialist group, Glenn Young, who has worked extensively with this duck in Jersey, in captive breeding. Actually, he's an expert on wiping duck. He's now the chair of the entire duck specialist group of the world. When he came to us, I mean, we were having this meeting, and he looked at our table of survey, and he said, why are you not surveying, between this month and this month, between, April, May, and October? And people in Assam said, oh, that's a monsoon. And he said, but if it's the monsoon is the time when the duck calls. He knows it, right? So he said, if you want to find the duck, you have to walk in the wet. He said, buy yourself raincoats, buy yourself boots. And if you're a British, you'll wear raincoats and boots. Maybe the Indians don't want the boots. They want to walk in their chappals, flip-flop, whatever. I don't mind, as long as you're able to take the rain and the leeches. And you don't say that, oh, there's a leech, no, I'll go back home and, I'll come when it's fair weather. Fair weather, you won't find this. Or you may not find this. You may have to go right through. There's fair weather patches. Now it's fair weather at the moment. And October is fair weather or whatever. But in the middle, there may be monsoon. But there may be people who have to take that and be in the field. So you can help like that. Yeah, we have a core team of WTI biologists who will do it. But we would like some help, some extra help. You can't give 15 days of your time, but you want to do something. Let's go on to the other set of nature people who have grown in India exponentially, like the birders, even more than the birders, other photographers, people with long lenses, right? I have a long lens too, but I'm a professional who does this for a living. But there are many people who are not a professional who still have long lenses, right? Who like to go and just photograph things, animals, birds, other things. They don't know very much about any of the things they're photographing, perhaps, but they still want to photograph. They may know a lot about photography. Well, go out and find this bird for us. Don't join us. Do your own thing. Look wherever you want. We'll give you all the past records, right? Go to those places, find us a duck, and send us a photo with a geolocation. And we'll actually give you an award, a prize. Yeah, there's a prize money which is on our website. We'll give you that prize if you can find it outside any of the places where we know they are there. We'll include all the old historic places. You find it there, we'll still give you that award. But outside the places where we know, recently people know of it. If you can find any evidence of this duck, then send it to us, okay? So there are 3 ways. Intensively join us on our survey in the next 9 months and help find the birds. Only the best birders will be taken for that, okay? I don't want just everybody, but people who have good eyes and good. You can't do that. Good photographer, want to do your own photographic trips to Northeast, go and find the bird for us, photograph it and send it to us. Can't do both, want to help, go on to our website, contribute some money. At the moment, we have a small ask. I mean, it's not that small, but it's reasonably small enough for all of you, even those who are hearing this, just go and click and put in your amount. I'm sure we'll get that, the ask, and we can move forward.
Well, the total amount is only about 10,000 pounds. So even if you get, let's say, 20 people or 10, 15 people to put in some money, it will, it'll fill up the kitty, and you'd be able to do your work so smoothly. So friends, I posted the link here, and if you can help with money, or if you don't want to, but you could get people to contribute for this research, it'll be fantastic, because then this is the first leg of this entire conservation journey of this bird. And if we complete it, then we move to the next one, which is the larger game plan as to what we want to do with it. So I think it's a no-brainer game. First is have fun, go look for those birds. Second is get some money into the kitty. And the third is get involved. Just be there. Be there.
I think that's the point. And these are the three offers we are making now. But if any of you have got a great idea that you will contribute in this manner, come forward and just write into us. I'm an elephant person, people say, but I am the principal investigator also of this project, and I'm taking personal interest. I'm going to go out there next week, right? I'm going to start this survey. I'm going to be the first. I'm not a wildlife staff posted in Assam, but I'm going to fly out there and I'm going to join this. So all of you can join me. I'll again go, somewhere towards the end of the survey and again do a part of the survey myself. So come and join me while I'm at my work. That'll be good as well.
Vivek, people have questions written down here. Would you like to answer?
As long as I can wear my specs, I may be able to read. All right. The very first one, there's a slight issue. I'm 17 years old. Can I join? I think we have said 18 and above. I'm afraid in Corona time, especially, I don't think we can, at the moment, take under 18s. Please wait a year, and maybe for the next thing we'll take you. Over 18, yes, no age bar, as long as you're fit. Under 18, we get into legal problems of being responsible for you. Somebody else has said, as a filmmaker, blah, 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 can you do something and take action? Yes, of course you can. If you can spread the word, please do that. Okay, so that's not a formal ask on the website perhaps, but get in touch with us, write in through that website, and or write into me or write into Mohit and Asian Adventures, and we'll direct you to the person who can do something, right? Has this, in Northeast, has this search been published or broadcasted? So this search for the next 9 months, we are telling people now, today. This is the first time we're telling the world, okay? It will be, okay? The last 2 years, the thing in Assam has been widely covered in Assam media. But this particular thing that I've just told you now in Arunachal, what we're going to do on the border of Assam, we are going to start that right now, okay? What makes the white-winged duck a unique duck species behavior-wise? Well, I told you what we know. Yeah, I told you what we know. It's a tree nester, a large tree nester. It's not unique. There are other birds in the world which are that, but just the size of this duck and the fact that it is a primary forest duck. So it's really a forest duck. Yeah. Unlike most other ducks which are found in the open waters. That is what is unique, I think, about it. It's not really a behavior, it's an ecological niche, which makes it this thing. All right, during my stay in Jaipur, somebody has said this duck are dwelling in rotten hollow tree, naturally falling. Is any research done about it? Well, I did say that. Yes, they do. They do roost on big trees and they do nest in those rotten hollows. Yeah, they don't. You have said they dwell in rotten hollows. They don't dwell in the rotten hollows. Birds don't dwell inside hollows necessarily. They do nest in them, but they also just roost on large trees, many of which unfortunately are dead. So I don't think the fact that they are dead is important for it to roost. The fact that they should be large is important for it to roost. But for getting large hollows, dead vegetation might be good. Okay. Are there more?
I think
I don't think there's that many more, right?
yeah. Ishita is saying that can we apply to volunteer as wildlife photographer?
Yes. So as I said, please go on to our site, a link of which, Mohit, you are providing, right, at the end of this talk to people. Otherwise, it's www.wti.org.in. Just go on to our site. Okay, here's Mohit has put up that link as well in the chat. So please go on. And yeah, I told you there are 3 ways. Either volunteer as a survey volunteer right now, or volunteer as a wildlife photographer. You don't need to volunteer. You can go out and find your own stuff. Or you can give us money for this particular project. So these are 3 ways we have now put up. But if you people are coming up with great ideas, we will put up more things in the ways you can get involved. We want you to get involved. Yeah, we want this. There are many projects we run. WTI runs more than 50 projects at any given point of time. This is a project where we want the public to get involved. Not everything can you get involved, but this you can, because it's search of a duck, right? And search of a duck that is so closely associated with our civilization in Northeast India.
So Vivek, it's what people want to give money for this project. They can go on to Pay You Money link, and even people from overseas can pay. And they can easily pay 400, 500 pounds, and that takes care of 1/20th of the thing. So it's a very easy way of contributing.
Sure. You can go. We have all the exemptions and all that, as well as trust. And you can just go on and fill in your details and pay straight off. Individuals can contribute. I mean, you keep telling in pounds, and I'm sure most of your viewers are in England, is it? But that's good. But if you're not in England, also please pay us in dollars or Indian rupees or francs or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that we need to get the requisite amount. We will put up a tab and we'll tell you how much we got. I don't need more than what is required for this survey. So my team will put up a tab and tell you that we have reached that amount that is being asked for, which is under 10 lakhs. I think it's 8 lakhs or in Indian rupees. So Mohit said 10,000 pounds or whatever. So it's that sort of money that we require for the entire year, right? For the entire state, for all of us, including all of you who will volunteer. We'll have to bear your costs locally, etc. So it's for the army of people who will go out and find the bloody duck. Excuse my French, but we have to find it in all sorts of places, and then we'll move on to the next part of the science. By the way, there's another question from Samiha, I think, which says, would you be tracking or banding the ducks that you find? No, not at the moment. We take tracking and banding very seriously in WTI. Number one, you're catching hold of a bird and putting something onto it, whether it's a bird or an animal. So we'll do that with a scientific bird. At the moment, we want to find how many there are and where they are. Okay. Then if we need to find some answers, which I'm sure we will, when the relevant scientific questions are asked, then we'll do it. At the moment, we don't think of this bird as a large-scale migratory bird. So we don't necessarily need to track it long distances, or so we think. If we find out more and we need to know something, we will do it. Will we band it? That's a different thing to tracking. Yeah, banding is only to know that individual bird. If it goes down to a very small population, maybe we'll discuss with the state, as to whether it requires that sort of banding. I mean, as I told you, when Chhattisgarh went down to 7 buffaloes, 1 female and 6 males, then we need to know every single one. Yeah, we need to have their names, banding or knowing individuals. If you're talking 1,000, we may not need to know every single individual. So we'll make that game plan. We are making that game plan as we talk. We know Assam now a little bit. We want to know Arunachal fully. Any of you find it in any other states in Northeast, please tell us. If you find it in other states of India, don't tell us, because you possibly are wrong. Yeah, don't see a cotton duck or something, or a nakta, which by the way looks a bit like this, the comb duck of India. It has got a white head with speckles and it's large. So don't keep sending us naktas and say that we found it in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and all that. So this is a northeastern bird. So please look there largely.
So I think Vivek, we will have many questions coming up as we go along, and then people will keep writing to us even after the webinar. And friends, if you want to get a replay link, of course you'll get a replay link, which you can happily share with people who you think will matter and will be concerned. So go ahead and share the link, and whatever information that you need, just write to me, and I'm happy to dole out whatever I've got here to you. I think it was brilliant, absolutely fantastic presentation, Vivek. I loved it, and everybody, I'm sure, would go back very happy, transformed, and would want to work for the species. I'm going to Vivek. Do you want to say something?
Thank you, Mohit.
Sorry.
Just thank you. Just
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
Just thank you, and thank you.
Yeah, I'm thanking you for to join us today. And I'm thanking all the ladies and gentlemen here who've got deep love for nature. Loving nature also includes appreciating those who work hard to preserve it. I'd once again like to thank Vivek, show my deep appreciation for the amazing work he and his team are doing to help species. I hope their work and this webinar has inspired you to work harder towards all that you love and help you learn more about how conservation works. It's brilliant. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you very much. Namaste. Great.
Thanks, Mohit.
I will take your leave. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.